Welcome back, everybody, to Monster Hunter World. We are continuing along the same path as before. We are fighting monsters in the arena, in the wild, just so we can get some of the monsters shown off. None of them have actual quests in high rank. With the exception of anything that's going to be a new monster. Pink Rathian is an example. It's a subspecies, but it got its own sort of introduction level. There'll be others, but for right now, we're going to be fighting. Like I said, I'm going to be showing off at least every monster once, or at least I'm going to try to. I'm going to probably miss one or two when I'm recording and forgetting, oh, I forgot to do so-and-so, or I gotta do this guy again, or whatever. Best example of that is gonna definitely be Diablos. I'm gonna have to fight. There is a... Okay. We'll back up just a little bit. Diablos, much like Rathian, Rathalos has a subspecies that we may run into before I don't know if it gets an introduction or not, but I know we're going to eventually start running into it because I've started getting the ability to take quests with it in it. So hopefully we actually run into like an introduction to that monster. However, if we don't, we don't. It is what it is, you know? But need to keep moving. You're gonna see some slightly different moves now that we're in high rank. Monsters, I believe they obviously hit harder. I think they move a little faster as well. Certain things are the same as in low rank, but some things change. For instance, this monster has I don't know if he did it all that much. I might have beaten him too fast for it actually to show, but he does have the ability to do a chin drop where he's gonna wind up and just like try and stomp me with his chin. This moves in low rank as well, but I don't think he uses it nearly as much. And I guess that one other thing I should point out is I have leveled up the Palico's mask ability high enough that it's actually producing this wacky inflatable flailing tube arm guy, which is actually, I thought it would sort of be like another thing that would sort of distract the monster, but no, it seems to take like, I want to say like almost all of the monster's attention. Like it'll be, instead of choosing between me, my Palico, and this flailing tube arm guy, it seems to prioritize the one making the most noise, which is, like I said, the little dummy one that they make, and not so much my Palico or myself. Did. I don't know. I like, I think he's fun to fight. One of the little factoids about this monster that I may or may not have mentioned in our first go around is when he falls on the side like this, you can actually mine his back for bone drops. So if he ever falls over and you don't feel like dealing damage to him, it automatically lets you pull out your little pickaxe and you go after his back and he goes tink tink tink, and you get at least one drop from that, possibly more. I'm not sure how long he stays on his back for it to really be viable. As far as I know, he does not have any specific or unique bones to him. If you hit him when he's doing that, he will fall on his side though. You do have to put away your sword though, it doesn't automatically pop up. But there is a monster we're going to be running into later on when we open up the next area. which I haven't gone to yet, but we'll get there soon. Episode or 2 or 3, I don't know. There's another similar version of this guy, except instead of bones, he picks up like ores and materials like that. But the difference between him and this one is you can see I'm very much breaking his bones and affecting his ability to do damage to me. Whereas this other one, you're not, you possibly can break parts of the monster. I think you can break parts of the monster, but it doesn't have it doesn't physically show like it look, you know, obviously this Radabon, you could see, you know, at the beginning of the fight, he had like sort of a grill or a face mask over the front of his chin that I broke immediately. And obviously he's got the 2 shoulder bone blades that stick up kind of spiky-ish. Whereas the other one, not really going to have that so much. It's not going to be as noticeable is what I'm sort of trying to get at. But yep, we're going to be doing a couple of these missions in this arena here, which is not to be confused with the challenge or event arena, which is a little different. That gives you the ability. It doesn't have a Dragonator or a stone drop like this one does, but it does give you the ability, maybe not initially, but eventually gives you the ability to split the arena in half. So that if, say, you're fighting 2 monsters in the same arena, which happens a lot in that challenge event arena, you can split them up for a limited time so you can focus on a singular monster and then go after the other one when maybe you've had a little bit more, once you've killed the first monster or whatever. Anywho, make a long story short, I think I missed the Dragonator on that one. That's okay. In high rank, it does about 500 to 1,000 damage, depending. So while it is still good, it's not super. It's not like guaranteed to like half the monster's damage. Stop! Don't be so painful. Oh, that was embarrassing. Picked up a piercing pod and killed him, which means he was more or less one sword strike away from dying. That's okay. That's okay. So we're gonna carve out the Radabon for his 3 pieces, and then we'll go upstairs and we'll look at the little flags that are up here, because pretty sure this is just the you already got the tail. Pretty sure this is just the Hunters Guild logo. But when I looked at this earlier, I thought maybe this was one of the fleets, like the first fleet or something, third. But no, it's just the Hunters Guild. Yeah, we did it, Palico Fang. High five. Here, I have a sausage. In other Monster Hunter games that come after this, Wilds and what's the other one? Rise. You have a little riding companion, and every time you have the riding companion with you, it steals the sausage off the Palico. Alright, we're going to go back to the board here. Basically, to give everyone a long story short, I've been cutting out the what I normally do, which is I come back, I check I pet the Poogie, check my harvest thing. It's a floral thing where you can basically have one of your people create or not make, what's the word? You are planting or sowing either bugs, plants, or mushrooms. And depending on how valuable those items are, is how long it'll take before one set will spawn. So, to give you an example, I like a lot of blue mushrooms, a lot of honey to make in this game. So, between missions, I'm always checking to make sure that I've got my modifiers, the catalysts, the things to speed up the harvesting or the production of those items. And then, like I said, pet the Poogie, check that. In some cases, I'm checking, see if what I need to focus on armor-wise. Like, what am I trying to make next? What am I trying to fulfill next? And then go from there. And then obviously you want to, except for these sort of missions, you really want to make sure you eat before you go out on a mission, because there's no guarantee in high rank and beyond that the bird thing, I can't remember what they're called. I want to call them gyros. That's not the right word. We'll drop you in your camp area. A lot of times they'll drop you by the monster, or they'll drop you in the middle of nowhere. So you want to make sure you eat in high rank, or you want to make sure you have overpowered armor, one or the other, or both. Another thing you need to prioritize, get yourself a good set of armor, base set of armor that you can run within most hunts. Maybe have a backup set for something, to do something that particular set is weak against. So, like, say you have a Raytheon armor or a Rathlos armor, and it's weak against electricity and dragon. Well, maybe you create a set that's good against dragon, or at least neutral against dragon. And sort of to make my long point short, you focus on building up your weapons, because, obviously you want the defense, so you don't die in case that hit doesn't take, a third of your health or quarter of your health. At the same time, you want the big, powerful weapons, because the longer the fight goes, the less repetitions you get on a monster, which means it takes longer for you to build up or make, monster sets. So, say I run, I don't know, we'll talk about this guy right here. Say we go to fight him in the wild, and each monster fight takes 10 minutes. You have to run the fight 10 times. That's essentially including, running back and forth between the missions. You're looking at about 2 hours, roughly, to do the 10 runs, versus if each run takes you 20 minutes, to kill the monster, that is. Now you're really backing yourself up. You're taking a 2-hour task and making it a 4-hour task. Or if you can do the task, say, in 5 minutes, you're reducing that 2-hour time period, to half an hour. Now, obviously, if you die, all of this big damage is moot. But, that's how I've sort of seen, that's how I played high rank in both this and a previous playthrough, is I prioritize defense in low rank and prioritize offense in high rank. Just because the number of times that you spend repeating puzzles in repeating fights in high rank is a lot higher than in low rank. So, and in low rank, you can't seem to really build any really outstanding weapons. All of your weapons are either some variation of non-elemental, or if they are elemental, they don't seem to do all that much elemental damage. So it's not that big of a deal. Whereas when you get to this point, and you're really starting to look at, blue sharpness, which gives you extra damage, versus green sharpness, and the extra damage that the things can do, both neutral as well as elemental damage, it really adds up quickly if you're playing the elemental game. kind of very odd that sometimes you'll attach to a monster with this, elemental discharge, and the monster will be able to shake you off. And in other cases, when you feel like maybe it should be able to shake you off, it doesn't. Like, I've had situations here where I've tried to do an elemental discharge and had the monster sort of do like a shimmy shake wiggle and knock me off. And I've had other situations where I've like fought a Rathalos and fucking hung on while it did its fucking backflip attack, you know? Which is weird to me. Also, I kind of have to give props or tip my hat to some of these monsters. When I use the singular Dragonator on Zora Magdaros, it did like 1,000 damage to it. And these guys in high rank are doing like, I just did like 480 damage to this guy. This Pupulamu. So I don't know. It's interesting to me. There's a question. Because I'm always asking questions, and I'm always curious as to how things should and should not go. As I get older, I start to worry. Not because I have to, at least right now, but I sort of worry about, your health. Long-term health situations, like, okay. I know a lot of it's luck and genetics and that bullshit. Because you'll have a lot of people who will smoke, and they'll get lung cancer, and then they'll pass away somewhere in their 60s or 70s, okay? And then you have that stubborn motherfucker, who smokes a fucking pack of cigarettes or carton of cigarettes every day, and drinks a gallon of bourbon every day, and lives to be 98 years old. Why? Because he's so stubborn he won't fucking die. But we worry about, okay, so I'm doing the exercising thing, great, okay? I'm eating healthy, great, okay? But I like to drink alcohol, that's bad, okay? Also, we're gonna set off the cannon now because I don't have enough time to load another one in. Isn't that fun? I like to do fun things, because I can't skip over this end sequence where they give you time to carve the monster and shit. So anyways, that's my point is this, okay? We all have genetic dispositions to things, okay? If your family has a history of cancer, you worry about getting cancer. You probably get yourself screened more than normal people do, okay? Conversely, if you're me and you saw your grandmother had 2 open heart surgeries on one side, the other side, your other grandma, all of her siblings had heart problems. Your dad had he had a heart problem. So anyways. Point of the story is eat healthy, to do best you can, but ultimately something's gonna get you regardless, You live 50 years, 100 years, whatever. Eventually your body's gonna start to break down, and something's gonna happen. Your body starts taking too much calcium for some reason. You break a bone, your body takes forever to heal, and your body just can't heal the bone and keep you alive at the same time. There's not enough left there, in your older age. Or whatever. But here comes sort of my point, okay? You get one life, you get to say everybody lives 90 years or everybody gets to live 100 years. I understand that's not how the world works, because heaven knows I fucking want to break down and cry every day when I see the little TikTok videos of the 1-year-old with pediatric cancer, and is like, well, my kid's on hospice, it's not going to live much longer than another week, and you're just like, oh my goodness gracious, this kid is not even a month old yet. Or, you get the 3, the 5, the 10, the 12, 15, 20-year-old who hasn't even left school yet, and they get cancer. It's just like, I don't understand it. I understand, genetically speaking, I understand in some twisted religious way. I get it. You know, you're trying, in a way, you have to have. It's hard for me to. So genetically speaking, I'm sorry. We're talking mice in a lab. You're talking. I know human beings don't like talking about this kind of stuff, like we're some sort of animal or something. But you had the wrong set of genetics. Your parents, they were able to suppress whatever gene their parents had, or some mutation happened, and you just got the wrong set of genes. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. And religiously speaking, if everybody got to live to be 90 years old, and it was a guarantee, okay, you could smoke every day, you could just be absolutely disease ridden because of sexual diseases or what have you, but you have to live 90 years. You don't get a choice. I understand, like, what kind of existence is that, So, in a way, those people, as much as we hate to think about them in that way, is sort of a reminder, knowing that you are not in control at the end of days. Your time may be limited, it may be extensive. I know people have talked about, in terms of human history and what we would consider human existence, our existence, even 100 years, which is a long-ass time to live, is a blink, is a flicker, is a dust in the wind, And it's disgusting in some regards when you think about how important or unimportant you really are, But in a way, our lives are like, I like to imagine our lives are like building blocks. If you don't build in this life, then your children are just going to be left where you were at, But if you put some bricks down, then they can build on the foundation that you built on, which of course is the foundation which your parents, your grandparents, etc. built on. I know it's very complicated. I'm sort of getting away from the health thing and moving into more like a social thing. It's a very difficult thing when, you're not living the same quality of life that your grandparent lived or your parents lived, but in some ways there's also higher expectations on those things. So, like, for instance, my grandfather, for instance, he lived in a small house. I want to say smaller than the house I live in now, 2 bedrooms, 3 floors, including a ground floor which had a garage in it. Second floor, which is your main living floor, your sleeping floor, and then you had your attic / third floor that you could walk up the stairs to get to. It wasn't a really big house, but it worked for him because he had 2 kids, and it worked out. Obviously, if he had 4 kids, it'd probably been too small for 4 kids. But he owned his own house, and these are all things that were considered at the time, part of middle-class living, things that were expected of people. But now we've gotten to the point where, people don't own their houses anymore. They rent forever. Or what they do buy, they either overextend themselves for the amount that they actually need, or whatever. And you say, oh, I gotta spend whatever, 5 times my wage, 10 times our family wage, 100 times, well, not 100 times our family wage, but you know what I mean. You know, you say you make $100,000 a year, you go out and buy a $1 million mansion. I mean, no one required you to fucking, you know, go out and buy a $1 million mansion. But at the same time, like, if all house prices are, you know, start in like the 120 mark, and you're making, say, $60,000 a year, I get it. You know, it's gonna be hard because that 60,000 before taxes, before, you know, all the utilities you have to pay, all of the other sort of day-to-day expenditures, food, water, shelter. Well, shelters, that is your mortgage. But, you know, food, water, heat. Unfortunately, we live in the United States, so gasoline, car expenses, etc. Come here, Rathian. Say hello to my little friend. Up your bum. Oh, nope, you got me on the turn. All right, here comes. Eat a dick. Boom, 442 damage. That's not enough damage. I should be doing like 1,000 damage. If I get high rank monsters are twice as tough as low rank monsters, so fuck you. Prepare to die, Rathian. Here it comes. I didn't even need the full burst to kill him. Alright, let's carve up this Rathian. Hello, Mr. Rathian. How are you today? Oh, I'm doing quite fine. Thank you, Christopher. I'm quite dead, though. So I'm not doing super great at the moment, though. That was a little unnecessary. I'm a dead corpse now. You didn't need to fucking jump on the side and fucking give my corpse a slash. Uncalled for. Anyways. I'm gonna cut the episode here. And when we come back, we are going to be doing more of what we just did. So, until then, I hope you all have a good one.